Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. We might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she's never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at crossed in the last 3 years are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, because they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing a significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute. Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But you guys want the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Diablo asks, why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God. Damn it, AD. I think you just need to find a gentleman.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and the scene walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have been required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. If you accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the, because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can preemptive whether he can issue The president's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
that
you
would
can't?
Be a gross abuse
Oh,
of the presidential
it's a
pardon authority.
gross abuse of presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, J.B. Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, J.B. Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons is
Yes, it's only on
a powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt. Or at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
J.B.
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he
about
get a
this.
pardon also? Wasn't he on
Well,
that committee?
The seeking of pardons is...
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. Are you going to condemn that pardon?
You know, Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people. Commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One who, in fact, one drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold him.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama-Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators linking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, they're still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to, out and out deny anything. That's the weird part.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The audacity!
Of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Like the boy asked, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Avocado Diablo, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who if we were 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise that has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. I bet you there's a few of them there. And it didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
At the end of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to. I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
All right, time to turn the mic back on this lovely Monday. How are we doing today? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live, where I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet. And it's just me. It's just me today. Over the weekend, I went to Omaha to honor the late, great Dr. Norbert Sherman, the superintendent of the Omaha Public Schools for over 40 years. He was a good friend with my mother. I grew up with his son since 7th grade. Went to junior high, ninth grade, and high school with him. And he was in one of my bandmates, and we sang together. And he was an athlete too, and so we had that in common. And so we just he invited a bunch of our old friends to get together to celebrate his dad's life, and a lot of our friends knew him. So that's where I was over the weekend. I didn't pay attention to the news at all. I mean, I'm just finding about this Idaho fire and the firefighters getting shot and all this other stuff. And obviously I wasn't here Friday, so we're gonna do Friday Q&A today. So that's the bonus Monday Friday Q&A. What's going on with the names here with all the numbers and shit? That's goofy. Don't know what that is, but anyway, but it was a good weekend. I saw a few of my just best high school buds over the weekend, and at the memorial, but also one of my other friends is in a gospel band group, whatever, that played at a little neighborhood festival. Got to see them play. Boy, they were good. They were freaking good. I mean, I'm not a big gospel music fan, but this band was cooking, man. And then I went another group of people that I know that weren't necessarily my high school crowd, but people I just know. They were meeting at a bar, a bunch of I went to Omaha Central High School, meeting at a bar in Omaha. So I'm like, go see them too. And it was good. It was good just catching up with people. And so it was a great weekend, but I did not even look at my phone once when it comes to news. Didn't look at X, didn't look at the websites, didn't look at anything. So I'm coming in cold today, and I'm okay with that. I clicked a few articles here and stuff, so we'll just go through that, and we'll do some Friday Q&A, and that'll be it. So let's say hi to everybody and get it going. By the way, if you haven't shared, I didn't even put share the stream, did I? Did I put share the stream here? If you're here, you got 30 seconds to do that. I'll put it up at the top there, and then you'll have to find it yourself. Thanks to people who already done that. But first in the chat today, of course, is Mr. Avocatus Diabli. He gets the bell. Yeah, baby. Also, good morning to Kara Soldier, Mike Savage, Blarg, JB's in the house, Johnny Boomertech on the wheel, or on the turntables. Lewis is in the house. Hurricane Franzi, is that Tyler F? Is that the same person? I don't know. It's same whatchamacallit. Darren Root, what's up? Tyre, excuse me, not Tyre. The Pope, Tyrannus, the Scourge, and his name's up here different. All the names are up here different. What is going on? Hello, blessings of the holy dead be upon you, all my children. This is the day that the holy dead hath made just for you. So thank you, Pope Tyre. Also, who's Somnambule Nation? What's up? Is that it? Wow, not a whole lot of people here. Sorry, I'm yawning. I'm catching up on sleep. Oh, there's like 8 people here. What the hell? 3 likes. That's about the right ratio. So anyway, yeah, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, get their ass over here. What the hell's going on? Do have a super chat from Avocado Diabli via Streamlabs. Thank you. And you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, Avocados Diablo, putting a small bullet in the tip jar, saying, so the ACLU. Oh, let me give a proper notification on that too. Listen. Yeah, that's what it should have sounded like. Instead of that weird sound that came up. Avocado Diablo says, so the ACLU stating they will oppose changes to birthright citizenship because changing it would violate the rights of unborn children. Seems they do not game that line of reasoning out of its logical conclusion. Yeah, the big thing I did see over the weekend, the only one that really caught my eye, that was more when I was coming home because like 80 people made the same fucking video about it, was that the Supreme Court on this appeal case to the birthright citizenship case just kind of took away the ability. I don't know. I haven't read it, but sort of took away the ability of judges to do nationwide injunctions if they make a ruling in a certain circuit. And I learned that many people read the dissent from Sotomayor because apparently she said, well, this is a dangerous precedent because what if a president decides that people do not have the individual right to a gun and decides to start confiscating guns, and the ATF, starts confiscating guns, to which I said, well, first, good luck with that, because, that's not I'm pretty sure people who really, really like the guns probably aren't going to go for that anyway. And two, there's already been a Heller decision on that. So I don't know why someone thinks an executive or something that could be, there's been a decision on. Now, you might argue, well, if there's already been a decision on whether or not people can own a gun, wouldn't the logical conclusion to that be that the birthright citizenship is already written in the Constitution? Yeah, but no one's ever challenged the idea of birthright citizenship for people who are in the country, who've entered the country illegally. So, and as part of that is, where the jurisdiction, one of the lines in that part of the 14th Amendment, first of all, was the 14th Amendment written for everybody or just specifically for the people who are freed as slaves? But, so the question though, that one of the lines in that particular birthright citizenship thing is of the jurisdiction, her part of the jurisdiction thereof. If someone crosses into our country illegal, are they part of within the jurisdiction of the United States? Because they didn't come here legally. So I don't know. Well, that's all going to eventually pan out. But they're saying the argument I heard over and over this week is, well, then a president could have an executive order saying that you don't have an individual right to a gun, which is exactly what Sotomayor wrote, and start confiscating guns. And if you have to sue to get that right back. No, because I doubt it, because that's a question that's already been answered by the court, that very specific question on the individual right to own a gun, which of course it's the individual right of the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That little comma before on that little beginning part was just kind of one of the reasons. And it didn't have anything to do with a well-regulated militia, because well-regulated didn't mean the same thing when that was written than people think of regulating things now. Regulating then was a well-equipped, well-kept militia. Because the importance of a well-kept militia, one of the reasons, the people, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Not the right of the militia to keep and bear arms, the right of the people. People. Because all of the rights in the Bill of Rights are the rights of the people, not the rights of the government. They're not the rights in the Bill of Rights that are your kind of, whether you want to call it rights from God or natural rights. All the rights of the Bill of Rights are things that the government shall not infringe. Not that the government is granting you as a right. It's like you have these rights and the government shall keep their little stinky little hands out of that. So anyway, thank you, Avocado Diabli. That was a long explanation. Hello on the honorable mention list of my favorite Canadians, Special K on acid. Welcome to the show, sir. And where even is Omaha? Well, let me think. Okay, let me get a map out because it's in Nebraska, but I'm going to try to give you a Canadian perspective of where Omaha is. In case you don't know, Omaha is directly south of Winnipeg, basically, in Nebraska. So if you went to Winnipeg and you went straight south, you would probably go through Omaha. In fact, I think I-29, which is the freeway that goes from Omaha up to Fargo and beyond. Yeah, if you stayed on highway in, let's see, 29 in, what is it in Canada? It's 75. It's Highway 75 from Winnipeg straight south, and then you take 29 down, and that'll take you all the way to Omaha if you know where Winnipeg is. Okay, so there you go. All right, it's right near buttfuck Idaho. Well, no, it's not near buttfuck Idaho. In fact, Idaho and Nebraska do not touch at any point on the map. But thanks for trying. Wait, does it? No, Idaho is way over there. Yeah, no, it doesn't touch Idaho. Idaho is west of Montana and Colorado and Wyoming and all that shit. So, it's nowhere near buttfuck Idaho. So there you go. All right, everywhere is near buttfuck Idaho in spirit. Well, if you think of if you say relation to hemispheres, sure, it's closer to buttfuck Idaho than anything in the Eastern Hemisphere. We're in the Western Hemisphere, right? Eastern Hemisphere. Why did I do that? I don't need to see that. What the hell's that going on? All right. Let's do some show. Things in the news that I'm just finding, and again, we'll do Friday Q&A. So drop questions over on Friday Q&A because we didn't get to do it this last Friday. Thanks to people who have shared the stream, by the way. Let me drop into my notifications here just to say, oh wait, what did I do there? Wrong one. Sorry. Don't do that. What did you do, Johnny? What is up? Get the shit right. Okay, first, people sharing the stream real quick. Thank you, Somnambull Nation, of course, tweeted the show out thyself, as often you do. Put that on the screen. There you go. Link, a.k.a. link in description. That's a cute name. I wonder if anyone's taken that one. Also, thank you, JB, for dropping a let's go. What the hell is he doing? That's pretty funny. Okay, so we're reposting that. And a link in description also put this mask guy out. That's weird. I don't know what that's about, but I'll repost it anyway. And then let's go from Mike Savage. I appreciate it. Let us go, as always. So there you go. And thank you, Kay Shaw, Kirsten Shaw, Tyre Alexander, Mansquatch, link in description, aka Somnambull Nation, and JB for tweeting out the show, and Tyre with the daily woo from Ric Flair, of course. There you go. I don't see Resolute Germ here throwing the wrestling pickup, but I'm sure that'll happen sometime today. All right, let's talk about this thing in Idaho, though. I didn't hear about this till this morning, or did I hear a snippet about it? Anyway, this is quite sad and also troubling. And there's a couple different parts to this. Personally, I always like Sodomy, Illinois. I don't know who that is, but good luck. All right. In Idaho, 2 firefighters shot dead and 1 injured after a sniper ambushes crew responding to an Idaho blaze. They did not have a chance. 2 firefighters were killed and the 3rd was injured when first responders were ambushed by an hour-long barrage of gunfire after arriving at the scene of a blaze in Idaho Sunday afternoon. According to authorities, the horrific attack, which began around 2 p.m. local time in Canfield Mountain near Coeur d'Alene, ended about 5 hours later when SWAT teams discovered the lifeless body of a man next to a firearm on a popular tourist trail, according to the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office. This was a total ambush. These firefighters did not have a chance, Sheriff Bob Norris told reporters after the massive manhunt, assuring the community there's no longer an active threat. Quote, "We have currently shot we've currently one dead shooter based on the preliminary investigation that was being conducted. Keep in mind, we had a fire that was rapidly approaching the body, so we had to scoop up that body and we had to transport that body to a different location. We believe that it is the only shooter that was on the mountain at that time. Police have not released the suspected gunman's identity, the type of weapon recovered at the gruesome scene, or the cause of his death. The motive remains under investigation, but police believe the fire was intentionally set to lure the first responders to a deadly trap. That's just fucked up. Why? What is wrong with your life? And here, Idaho Sheriff, the shooter started the fire. It was intentional. It was an ambush. During a Sunday night press conference, Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Morris indicated that law enforcement believes the shooter started the fire on the Canfield Mountain in Idaho as part of an ambush. Norris stressed that the fire was intentional. He explained how law enforcement detected the cell phone activation at a certain spot on the mountain around 3:16 p.m. He said, "We honed in on that cell phone and saw that there was a male who appeared to be deceased with a weapon nearby." He said, "Based on preliminary investigation, we believe that there was only one shooter who was on the mountain at the time." Norris said that the assessment is based on a trajectory and based on the type of weapons in that the individual had. He explained that his police department had 2 helicopters searching the mountain Sunday afternoon and that both helicopters had snipers in them. If they had an opportunity to take a shot, then we wanted to take that shot. They wanted to take him out, which it seems maybe he took himself out. Who knows? So there you go. That's some crazy shit happening in Idaho. So there you go. And more death and destruction in Philadelphia. 1 dead and 2 injured after multiple Philadelphia homes collapse in an explosion. This is, man, do you remember back, when was that? There was some building that exploded in Philadelphia, and some people said that they bombed it, and it was quite the controversy back in was that in the 90s? I don't know. Anyway, 1 person was left dead and 2 others were injured after multiple buildings in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania collapsed and exploded. I hope HB wasn't in one of those buildings. That's according to the Philadelphia Fire Department. In a post on X, the city's fire department revealed that before 5 a.m., officials from the fire department responded to a report of an explosion, that there were 2 reported injuries and 1 reported fatality. Just before 5 a.m., we responded to an explosion on Bristol Street, nice town. Not so nice town. The PFD Road. This became an all-hands response. There were 2 reported injuries, sadly, 1 reported fatality. Daniel McCarty, an acting executive chief of the Philadelphia Fire Department, revealed that the 3 row houses had exploded in on themselves, which resulted in a fire. How do row houses explode in on themselves? What does that even mean? He added that the fire department had located and transported 2 elderly females to local hospitals, one of which was critical and one of which was stable. Per the outlet, the fire department later said that 1 person was killed in the explosion. Officials did not provide any details about the victim. There have been secondary collapses near the home believed to be the source of the primary explosion, according to McCarty. So, yeah, not good news in Philadelphia either. Thank you, Avocados Diablo, another small bullet in the tip jar, who says, gives a whole new meaning to fighting fire with fire. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, that's that Idaho situation, not good. And, you pray that no copycats. I'm really curious what they're going to find out about that guy. Is that going to be, because it's Idaho, I'm sure the lefties are like thinking, oh, this is a right-wing nut job. Let me see. Let's look up the topic here on X. I didn't open any X things. I know it was in the Explore page. Let's check this out. Under here we go, Idaho. Well, Idaho was trending number 1. Let's scroll down. Oh, it's not even trending anymore. It was trending number 1 like an hour ago. Let's look up Idaho and see what dummies are saying about it. And no, I'm not the hoe. Just letting you know. I'm not the hoe. Idaho? No, I'm not the hoe. Okay, streets across Idaho are filling with people waving American flags, honoring the fallen firefighters ambushed in tonight's horrific shooting. This is what real patriotism looks like. Bravery, sacrifice, honor. I wonder if the shooter was on a terror watch list. Okay, that's good reaction from the local people. Oh, you can't even see that anyway. Here you go. It's there now. You can see it. Someone here, real trucker Jake Logan says, Father, we pray to you this Monday morning with both heavy hearts and grateful spirits, acknowledging the sorrows of this past weekend. We lift up the families of the firefighters lost in the ambush in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and the injured who are now healing. Grant them peace and comfort with their grief, and grant them strength to carry on. We pray for this community shaken by this violence, that they may find resilience in the face of such a terrible loss. We also give thanks, Lord, for the moments of courage that first responders and local, state, and federal law enforcement. We are humbled by the outpouring of kindness and prayers across our nation. Bless those who serve, rebuild, uplift others, from first responders to everyday patriots working for a brighter future. Guide our leaders and communities to inspire hope, justice, and compassion, Lord. So, yes, and there's more to the prayer, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. And on another note, this is the other thing that happened this weekend. One of my favorite cousins passed away too. And I don't know how, but I'm going to be gone this weekend too now. Because his memories, what do you call it? Celebration of Life is on Saturday. So 4th of July, we're going to hang out with my daughter here, and then I'm going to drive down to Waterloo, Iowa for that. So that's tough, man. These things always seem to come in threes, and I'm not ready for the 3. I don't know what it might be. Something interesting too, when I got together with friends, I'm at that age where most of my friends' parents are either gone or going. And I resemble that remark because 3 of the 4 people that I call parents are gone. And you come to that realization that, oh my God, we're next. And in fact, at a high school that was near my house, but the one I didn't go to, I was in their alumni directory just to see if I could find one of my friends that grew up in my neighborhood. And his name is a very common name, so there was something that said, "Oh, there's someone named Brian Jensen who died, but he was not on the list of dead students from that school." But they, and then I looked up, so who do I know that may have already passed away from that school, and I found 4 people that I knew, and I didn't even go to the same school, but 4 people that I knew from various times in different schools, and we were talking about some of the people in my class that have already passed away. Obviously, they would have died young, especially a couple who, died before our 30th reunion. So yeah, it's your mortality becomes more and more in question as the years go on. So it's kind of weird. Just is. And I don't worry because I'm already dead. Okay, Special K, I got you. All right. Let's see. Just double check here. Oh, at least there's 16 people here now. It's about time. Other people talking about this Idaho thing, though. If you're already playing politics with the monster in Idaho, it might be time for you to pause and reflect on what it is you believe in and who you are. There are no points to be scored here. Only dead firemen who are ambushed trying to keep the public safe. Grow a soul. That's our friend the Foo, Polita Bunny. Idaho Sheriff lays down the law. If anyone sees the shooter targeting firefighters, we have a clean shot. Take them out. That was from yesterday. The Greater Idaho Movement. I don't know who that is. Oh, are these the people who want to defect from Oregon? Our statement on the end of Oregon's legislative session. Oregon refuses to listen to Eastern Oregonians or our representatives despite our votes for separation. It's time for the federal government to help us achieve the self-determination we deserve. Interesting. This is those eastern counties in Oregon. Here's the letter they wrote. The failure of the Oregon legislature to move either to the Greater Idaho Hills in this session is an affront to the people of Eastern Oregon. Move either of the Greater Idaho Bills. Greater Idaho Bills. I'm sorry, not Hills. It's pretty small type there. I'm old and shit. Bills is an affront to the people of Eastern Oregon, as well as the democratic process in general. For 5 years, the people of Eastern Oregon have been making their wishes known at the ballot box. Those wishes are to have elected leaders investigate letting our counties separate and join Idaho. Eastern Oregon representatives sponsored bills in this session to do just that, but were completely ignored by the Democratic majority in Salem. This failure to listen to the people of Eastern Oregon or our elected representatives only reinforces why Eastern Oregon counties need the governance of Idaho, a state far more in line with our values and way of life. After 5 years of hearing from voters and advocating for legislators to respect voters' wishes, it is clear to our organization that Oregon's leadership is intent on holding Eastern Oregon counties captive as a part of a state we no longer wish to be a part of, and that federal engagement is necessary to achieve self-determination for the people of Eastern Oregon. Well, goodness gracious. That should be interesting. The shooter moved there from Pegged, Montana. Is there a town called Pegged, Montana? Siri, navigate to Pegged, Montana. Siri, wake the hell up. Navigate is Pegged, Montana. Find it on the map. There are no matching places called Pegged, Montana. Who said that? Soundable Nation. Come on, man. All right, there you go. So, yeah, the people in Eastern Oregon still trying to get the hell out of Dodge. Anyway, Kash Patel personally contacted the Idaho sheriff and assisted with locating the firefighter shooter. That's interesting. And then again, a flash crowd of patriots honoring the heroic firefighters. So yeah, I'll leave that link open. Let's move on. What else do we got here? Old Mamdani. Okay, Mamdani, the New York. Well, he's not the mayor elect. He's just the Democratic nominee, which is likely he'll be mayor unless somehow one of the independent candidates or Curtis Sliwa. I mean, look, the reason Curtis Sliwa is the Republican nominee is because no one else ran. He ran unopposed. And I personally like Curtis Sliwa, former leader of the Guardian Angels, and maybe he's still the leader of the Guardian Angels. I don't know. I like him personally. I like what they do. They were, they learned how to do things within the law to help people in the city of New York. But he has no chance in hell of becoming mayor. He does look snazzy in that gray ass hat, though. Well, I thought they were wearing red hats. They had red hats, didn't they? Anyway, so this Mamdani guy, it seems like he's going to be it. And, well, there's some things he says that are really dumb that have nothing to do with being mayor of New York. He seems to think that, that gay hat. Oh, that gay ass hat. I thought you said gray. Gay. Okay, gotcha. He says a lot of shit, like stuff that he doesn't even have power over, but that he wants to do in the city of New York, stating that the state should do this and that, and he's not even going to be the governor of the state. Shit the state would be doing, not the shit the city would be doing. So anyway, let's start with this one. Mamdani vows to fight back against ICE agents if elected. Okay. On NBC Meet the Press, Democratic New York City mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani said if elected, he will fight back against ICE agents conducting deportations in the city. Host Kristen Welker said, "Let's talk about immigration and deportation. Are you committed?" Well, let's see. How much of the clip did they have here? Maybe I can just play it. This is only 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's watch Mamdani talk about him and fighting back against ICE agents.
Zoran Mamdani Thank you so much for sticking around for more questions. Let's talk about
guy's an idiot,
immigration,
by the way.
deportation. Are you committed to keeping New York as a sanctuary city?
Absolutely. Because
Why?
ultimately we've seen that this is a policy that has kept New Yorkers safe for decades.
No, it hasn't. It has nothing to do. Making it a sanctuary city has nothing to do with keeping New York safe. And in fact, crime is up in New York, even if they don't report it to national whatever. And no, it does. There's no correlation of keeping the city safe and making it a sanctuary city. So stop lying.
Alike until the fear-mongering of this current mayor.
Whatever.
And it's a policy that
oh, the fear-mongering of the current mayor. You mean the billions of dollars they've had to spend on all the people that the influx of those people, whatever?
Seen ensures that New Yorkers can get out of the shadows and into the full life.
They're not. Oh, see what he's doing here? He's calling them New Yorkers like they're citizens of New York, or they're just people hanging on. And you know what? That's a game they play. Oh, Amazing Disgrace is in the house. I watched him eat rice with his hands during an interview, and I wanted to vomit. Oh yeah, he was where was he from? I think he was born in the Republic of Congo. And so there are people who eat with their hands in Central Africa, or in Western Africa too. I mean, you know, my parents, my father and a lot of the family are like, you eat fufu, you eat that with your hands too. Hello, Ms. Wild Wolf also. So anyway, yeah, I didn't see that clip, but some Americans might find that distasteful. Some people who are from foreign lands would be like, oh yeah, that's just how you eat the shit. So anyway.
Of the city that they belong to, and it's one that I will be proud to stand up for.
Well, wait, whoa, what did he say again?
Can get out of the shadows and into the full life of the city that they belong to.
How exactly do people who are here, who crossed our borders illegally, how are they in a city they belong to? The city they belong to, they left behind.
And it's one that I will be proud to stand up for.
Well, you know, the border czar, Tom Homan, has said that he is planning to deploy ICE agents to New York, worksite enforcement to essentially increase.
You mean essentially enforce the law. That's what she's sputtering around, trying to say.
Enhance the number of ICE agents here. If that happens on your watch, how do you plan to handle it?
We have to stand up and fight back, and we haven't seen that from our current mayor, who has instead been working with the Trump administration to assist in their goal of building the single largest deportation force in American history. I mean, we saw ICE agents arrest a migrant at Federal Plaza, and then we saw NYPD officers arresting a pastor who was peacefully observing that arrest. Those
I haven't seen the clip, so I don't know what he considers peacefully protesting, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what that means. Zoran, the amazing Zohan. Filio bastard. That is oh shoot, that's GDSOB. What's up? How you doing? I don't know what's going on with the handles today. It's like your ats instead of what you call yourself for some reason. So hello, but I figured it out. Anyway, let's go.
Those days are going to come to an end when I'm the mayor. The NYPD's job is to create public safety in the city, not to assist ICE agents in their mission to attack the very fabric of this city.
The very fabric of your city is illegal immigrants. Is that what you're saying there, Zoran?
I want to talk about the historic nature of your candidacy. If you were to win, you would become the first Muslim mayor of New York City. Along the way, throughout the course of this primary campaign, you have received death threats.
That was
You've
wrong.
received all sorts of attacks online. Congressman Andy Ogles called for you to be deported, for example, because you were born in Uganda. He also
Uganda, that's where he's born.
Islamophobic epithet, which I am not going to repeat here. But what type of...
What did he call him? What anti-Muslim epithet did he call him? I hope it didn't involve linens. Bath linens.
Has this taken on you personally and on your family?
It's been difficult.
Do you know the way?
It's been difficult to have to deal with the regular and repeated smears and slander upon
You mean of things? Smears and slander. We'll get to that, buddy. Some of the shit you said
on my name and on the very basis of my faith. And I think what's so sad is that this is but a glimpse into what life is like for many Muslim New Yorkers.
He's not a Middle East Muslim, and so I'm not saying that may be even a concern. But look at all the cities in London, or excuse me, in England that have Muslim mayors, and we had in Minneapolis, Minnesota, white bread Minneapolis, home of the Lutherans and Catholics. They have the Muslim call to prayer in the city of Minneapolis on giant loudspeakers all over the town. So that's crazy. Hello, Shrapnel. What's up? I'm just getting everybody by their avatar because for some reason everyone's name or ats. Only Avocados Diablo looks correct. Well, Special K I figured out. And anyway, there you go. So here we go.
And many New Yorkers of different faiths who are constantly being told that they don't belong in this city and in this country that they
what
love.
Different faiths are you talking about there, Zoran? What faiths are you talking about? What faiths? Because basically there's in New York, there's Muslims, Catholics, and Jews, and maybe some, what do you call it? Maybe some, probably some Hindus if there's Indian immigrants. But what people of faith are being told they don't belong there? I'm just curious.
And ultimately, what continues to give me hope is that these moments are but small examples, something that goes against what so many New Yorkers actually feel. Because what we know is that this is a sense for all of us.
Yeah,
what Tuesday night showed.
It's funny. By the way, his base of support comes from the college indoctrinated and wealthy people, because the middle class and working class in New York City didn't vote for this guy. They voted mostly for Cuomo or some other candidate. This guy got the Upper East Side hoity-toity, accuse you of mansplaining vote. That's who he got.
Is that what
Mayor of New York?
Oh, that was it. So anyway, that's Zoran. Now, interesting too, because some of the things that Zoran has said in the past are coming up, and some New Yorkers are surely thinking, "What the fuck did we do?" For example, violence is an artificial construct, which is a tweet from Zoran Mamdani. Sometimes the best way to demonstrate the dangers of electing certain candidates to higher office is by letting them speak for themselves. Zoran Mamdani, the presumptive Democrat mayoral nominee of New York City, is one of those people. While the New York Assemblyman has been presented as the relatable socialist, as if there is such a thing, despite his racist, anti-Semitic, and anti-American tendencies, and smooth talked his way ahead of former Governor Andrew Cuomo in both the polls and the primaries. Statements he's made over the years and stances he's taken paint quite a different picture. Now, see, here's the thing. Remember when Andrew Cuomo was talking about running for the mayor of New York? And I said, it's probably not a good idea, but, do what you're going to do. But Andrew Cuomo has got problems. And how he's thought he would make a comeback, I don't know. Maybe he thinks he's Donald Trump. I don't know. But anyway, without further ado, here is Zoran Mamdani, in his own words, mostly from Twitter and X, compiled by the certain users. So here's one where he says violence is an artificial construct. Listen to this.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling.
You mean
violence?
You mean someone who breaks into someone's house didn't commit a violent crime? I don't know. Or maybe they think burglary where they didn't break in. But okay.
It's an artificial construction.
Violent crime is
to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction.
Is it?
We have to be very clear.
Is it a social construct?
With these district attorneys.
What's that mean? Violence is an artificial construct.
That is violence of the highest.
All right, so there's one. Here we go again. Listen, here, I'm just going to play the clips. Listen.
Because I think that New Yorkers, more than they hate a politician they disagree with, they hate a politician they can't trust.
On the subject of trust, you've adopted different speaking accents in different scenarios.
They go to their local bodega.
Is there one that's real and one that's
oh no! Is he pulling an AOC? Is he pulling a Kamala Harris? He's code switching, even some codes that don't belong to him, like when Kamala Harris started speaking in a Hispanic accent or a Mexican accent. Let's not just say a Hispanic accent because that's too broad. She was trying to sound Mexican, and as opposed to Spain or Argentina or Colombia or anywhere else. Anyway, let's see what his answer to this.
What I would say is, as any immigrant knows, having been born in Kampala, Uganda, and then raised in South Africa and moving here when I'm 7 years old, is there different parts of my life?
Worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour.
Mamdani was talking about a worldwide press tour back when he was a rapper.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice.
In a Disney movie directed by his mother.
Nepotism and hard work goes a long way. Here in New York City, this is how I speak.
Wow, he does code switch, doesn't he? Okay, let's go. Let's move on. What else? What else he say us to? Oh, here's one. What they saw back then remains true today. Welfare in America is a mechanism of social control rather than a right to which we're entitled. Means testing, inadequate benefits, spending restrictions, and home visits for the most vulnerable. This is the price of survival. Oh, here's one. Our feminism is inspired by Tillman's vision. Every man, woman, and child should be guaranteed all that they needed to live because that's what human dignity meant. No, look, I kind of get the feeling of, oh, everyone should get whatever they need, except everyone has a responsibility to work to provide what you need. Look, let's say we didn't have all the accoutrements of being in a first world country with grocery stores and electricity and easy roads and cars and gas and shit. How would you survive? Would you be able to survive just sitting around waiting for someone else to bring you some shit, or would you actually have to do something? You might have to go out and hunt down a buffalo or raise some tomatoes or potatoes or something. You wouldn't be able to just sit around and wait for, play video games and wait for mom to go buy some peanut butter and jelly. Everyone, and so that the concept of, work is not just, you're not working to make the man, make money for the man. You're working because you're using exchange of labor to get shit you need to survive. It's all kind of the same thing, except you're not having to do it yourself because someone else does the labor that makes the food, and you do some labor to make some money that makes some value for somebody so you can buy some food. This is crazy. This guy said, we put together our own welfare plan called Guaranteed Adequate Income. So this is like universal something income, basic income, which would eliminate sexism from welfare. There would be no categories: men, women, children, single, married, kids, no kids, just poor people who need aid. You'd get paid according to need and family size only, and that would be upped as the cost of living goes up. So that's Zoran. Somebody here, we need to abolish private insurance, institute single payer, nationalize the medical supply chain immediately. This is no time to put the ideology of capitalism above helping those who are in the greatest need. Now, again, sometimes, though, that supply-demand tug and war that goes on makes things more abundant because other people are trying to provide those services. I don't know. Because he was responding to Joe Biden, Donald Trump needs to reopen Obamacare enrollment immediately. This is no time to put pettiness and ideology above helping those who are in the greatest need. This is back in 2020. And here, under capitalism, housing is a commodity from which landlords and developers extract huge profits while our communities suffer eviction, foreclosure, displacement. So a socialist vision for housing means homes guarantee. Here's our plan for one in New York. So he's, by the way, this is from back in 2020 or 2019 when he was saying that. But his idea right now, though, is, you do this rent control where, if someone moves out of a first of all, you limit the amount they can raise your rent, in a building you own. And then when you get new tenants, you can only raise the rent so much in those tenants. But what happens in New York, there's like 10,000 rental units empty right now because of rent control. Because if you to get a certain unit up to code once someone moves out, well, that's going to cost you more than you can make back in rent. Then you're screwed, and a lot of people are just letting them go or not re-renting the rent control stuff. It sounds, here's the thing. And I'm going to do Q&A right after this. So Democrats have this problem of they have really good intentions, right? And by the way, he thinks he's going to offset housing supply with the rent control, because no one's going to build buildings if no one's going to build housing if you have to have rent control, right? But he's going to offset that by building 200,000 units in New York City. I think he said 200,000, which imagine how long that would take. But that would be rent controlled and using union labor, right? Hello, Selected Boy, by the way. How you doing?
Your life makes me sad.
No, well, not that. There we go. Boy. But here's the thing. Haven't we done some experiments with public housing before? Low cost public housing. We've done that. Was he not here during the 70s? Has he never not heard of Cabrini Green? Has he never not heard of the projects? Everything old is new again. He's coming back. He's going to build the projects again, basically. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. Anyway, we can't reform our way out of a racist police system that's working exactly as designed as a means to control over black and brown voters. We need to dramatically curtail the power and presence of the New York Police Department. Yeah, you know who doesn't want that to happen? Black and brown people who live in some or higher crime areas. They're like, no, we need more police, asshole, not fewer. But, who's listing the people who live in the areas where he's going to do that? So anyway, there's more quotes by, I keep calling him Zohan because that movie by Adam Sandler, The Amazing Zohan or something like that. Anyway, and then, there is one more clip though I got to play of him before we go. And I have some other articles open. The aggregate will be open. I want to go to Q&A. But this one is interesting. And the headline is on the Daily Caller article, Zohran Mamdani ducks and weaves when asked to condemn term calling for killing Jews. I'm going to guess the something intifada thing. I'm going to guess. So let's just scroll down and watch the clip. And he has a little duck and weave going on in here as opposed to a hair weave with blonde long extensions like Beyonce. Okay, here we go. Here it is.
Recently asked about the term globalize the intifada.
Yeah.
If it makes you uncomfortable. In that
Now, he
moment,
likes that
you
term.
did not condemn the phrase. Now, just so folks understand, it's a phrase that many people hear as a call to violence against Jews.
Wait. Why is she being so gentle about this? Globalize the intifada absolutely calls for violence against Jews around the world. Okay, it's calling for violence against Jews. The Intifada was violence against Jews, and if you're saying globalize that, it's violence against Jews in Israel. So if you say globalize the Intifada, you're calling for violence against Jews around the world. And it doesn't even matter if you support Israel, if you support Palestine or anybody else. That phrase is clear. It is clearly a call for violence against Jews around the world. It's not a question. It's not even a, that's what it is. If you asked Yasser Arafat, that's what he would say. May he rest in peace. Anyway.
Tension on this issue. So I want to give you an opportunity to respond here and now.
Let's see what he says.
Do you condemn that phrase, globalize the intifada?
That's not language that I use. The language that I use and the language that I will continue to use to lead the city is that which speaks clearly to my intent, which is an intent grounded in a belief in universal human rights. And ultimately, that's what is the foundation of so much of my politics, the belief that freedom and justice and safety are things that to have meaning have to be applied to all people, and that includes Israelis and Palestinians.
But do you actually condemn it? I think that's the question and,
no, he doesn't.
The outstanding issue that a number of people, both of the Jewish faith and beyond, have. Do you condemn that phase, globalize the intifada, which a lot of people hear as a call to violence against Jews?
I've heard from many Jewish New Yorkers who have shared their concerns with me, especially in light of the horrific attacks that we saw in Washington, D.C. and in Boulder, Colorado, about this moment of anti-Semitism in our country and in our city. And I've heard those fears and I've had those conversations, and ultimately they are part and parcel of why in my campaign I've put forward a commitment to increase funding for anti-hate crime programming by 800%. I don't believe that the role of the mayor is to police speech in the manner, especially
it's clear
of that of
he's
Donald
not
Trump,
going to
who
answer
has
the
put
question.
One New Yorker.
Oh, he somehow came full circle around to something about Donald Trump. What the hell does that have to do with the answer to the question? That is one phrase that you should be able to, even if you don't like Israel, you should be able to say, you know what, that's fucked up.
In jail, who's just returned to his family, Mahmoud Khalil, for that very supposed crime of speech. Ultimately,
no, that's not why. No, his crime was being crossing our border illegally and then having a deportation order. They just deported him to the wrong place because they said he couldn't go back to, where was he? Where the fuck was he again? Not Argentina. El Salvador. That's all. They can now the deportation order. They could deport him wherever the fuck they want as long as it's not El Salvador. They didn't even need a hearing because he's already been. But then they're going to convict him anyway of his other stuff. But anyway,
think I need to show is the ability
the question
to not only talk about
was
something but to tackle it and to make clear that there's no room for anti-Semitism in the city. We have to root out that bigotry, and ultimately we do that through the actions, and that is the mayor I will be, one that protects Jewish New Yorkers and lives up to that commitment through the work that I do.
Quickly, for the people who care about the language and who feel really concerned by that phrase, why not just condemn it?
My concern is
believe in it.
To start to walk down the line of language and making clear what language I believe is permissible or impermissible.
No. The language is permissible because we have a First Amendment. But you can say that that's some fucked up shit to be saying globalize the Intifada. You know what? It's that easy. You know what? You have freedom to say that shit, but I condemn it because that's some fucked up shit. But he ain't gonna say that, is he?
Takes me into a place similar to that of the president.
Takes you to your happy place?
To do those very kinds
Again,
of things.
he circles back to the president. This is not a question about the president. This is a question about you.
It's putting people in jail for writing an op-ed, putting them in jail for protesting.
No,
ultimately, it's not language that I use. It's language I understand there are concerns about. And what I will do is showcase my vision for the city through.
So anyway, he didn't have an answer. All right, you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's not Friday, but
everyone thought, but wait a second, this is about birthright citizenship, right?
It is time for the Morning Night Live Friday Q&A. Yes, I know it's not Friday. It's not even close to Friday. In fact, Friday was a few days ago, but I missed Friday because I was driving to Omaha in my vehicle. You know what pissed me off though? So I have an air compressor in my garage, and it's on the fritz right now. And I went to take it to a place that repairs air compressors on my way out of town. And I went to go drop off the air compressor at the place called Northern Tool and Equipment. And I'm walking there pulling the air compressor on its wheels because it's on wheels. And I look around and there's signs, service back there, signs pointing at service. I walk out to roll it all the way back to the service desk, and I'm standing there, and I had to wait for one guy in front of me. And then I get at the service desk and they go, they didn't tell you up front. You have to get a ticket up front and you have to take it with you. And then I go all the way back up front. And this is from the front of the building to the back of the building. And I went from the back of the building back to the front of the building. And the guy, I go up to the desk. I'm like, oh, yeah, I need to get a service ticket. And he goes, well, okay, we'll start writing up a service ticket. What is your address, this and that? Now, it's going to be 8 to 10 weeks before he'll even be able to look at it. Is that okay? I'm like, are you crazy? I was hoping to have it done by the time I got back. He said, well, no, you need to go to one of our other locations if you need it back faster. The Minnetonka location is on a 2-week delay, and the Maplewood location's on a 1.5 week delay. And I'm like, Maplewood, that's way the frick on the other side of the Twin Cities for me. But Minnetonka was kind of convenient, but I'm not, no. I'm like, fuck it. I'll just take it home or take it with me when I go to Omaha. So there's an air compressor in the back of my truck right now, and I'm going to take it somewhere else. The only reason I took it to Northern Tool and Equipment because that's where I bought it, and it may still be on warranty. I don't know if it is or not, though. But anyway, that pissed me off, and that was a story you didn't really care about. But I told you anyway. Let's get to Friday Q&A. First question today is from Advocatus Diabli, who asks... I decided to go a little vernacular on y'all there. Who asks... Have you ever worried that while you were not looking at your drink that someone may have inserted a syringe in the straw so you would reverse blow dart yourself in the mouth with a tainted needle? Funny you should ask. No, that didn't happen this weekend. No, I've never worried about that, but now you got me thinking. Oh, wait a minute. Here's the problem. I don't use straws. I generally don't use straws. If someone puts a straw in my drink, I generally take the straw, tap it on the drink, and put it on the bar and drink my drink like a man. So, no, I don't worry about shit like that because I don't drink out of straws. It is very rare occurrence. The only time that I think I drink out of a straw is if I get a drink in a drive-through, like I'm whatever, like a fountain drink at a Arby's or Burger King or some shit. But no, I don't worry about that. Avocatus Diabli, will you be worrying about it now? Yes, and now it makes me want to use straws less. Avocatus Diabli asks, if we sometimes call people from Scotland Scots, why do we never call people from England Ings or Ireland Ires? Deep thoughts with Avocatus Diabli. Yes, that is a good question. I don't know. Well, because ire is a negative term, I would say. And I'm not sure about the ings. And, would you call people from Iceland ice? But that would be confusing because then all the illegal aliens would be like, oh, shit, ice. No, that's the person from Iceland. Anyway, oh, we have a super chat there. It's not a super chat. What do you call it? Streamlabs dropping a $2.20 in the tip jar. Mr. Bob J. Boblin. Oh my gosh, where have you been, Bob? I have not seen you for a while. Anyway, Bob J. Boblin is back. It's an ad. Here we go. Big Bob from FTG Farms. We at FTG Farms are proud capitalists. Capitalism has allowed my grandfather Bob Sr. to go from a poor farmer with no formal education to a founder of a company. Socialism has failed 100% of the time. It has been tried. FTG fucking commies. So yes, I'm sure that was a message for what's his name? Something Mom Donnie. I don't want to say it wrong. He got really mad that Andrew Cuomo didn't know how to say his name. What is it? Not Zohan. Zoran Mamdani. Yeah. Oh, Japanland. What would you call? Yeah, see, we get in trouble for calling Japanese that, whatever. All right, back to the questions. Avocatus Diabli asks, when do you become too old to pee in the kiddie pool? Well, look. You're too old to pee in the. Well, it depends if you're. It depends if you're recreating or if you're mowing the lawn. I guess if it's just out there and you had to go really bad, as long as the kitties aren't in the pool. But no, you probably should never pee in the kiddie pool. I would say 3 is too old, but we'll see. Avocatus Diabli asks, do you think science will ever progress to the point where we can graft vocal cords into a person's colon? The vision I had there is what's the Pet Detective movie? Ace Ventura Pet Detective, when he does his the butt talking. Could you imagine if you could just talk right out of your ass for real? That'd be interesting. I'm sure somebody will think of it. They're doing all those weird trans surgeries. Someone will think of a way to make you talk out of your butthole. JB asks, Do you like turtles? Not as much as frogs, but turtles are cute. And look, my last encounter with turtle was rather disturbing because here in Minnesota, occasionally you'll be driving down the road and there'll be a gigantic snapping turtle in the middle of the road trying to cross the road. And those things some of them get about the size of a manhole cover. But yeah, and they're big, ugly things, and you're like, oh, you want to help it, but you don't want it turning its head around and grabbing you because that would hurt like a motherfucker. But yeah, I've saved a turtle or two in that type of scenario, and I've seen one that got run over, and it was really sad. So yes, I like turtles, and I'd like them to live. So if I see one on the road, I will help it. Next, JB asks, did you know if the U.S. had not dropped the atomic bombs on Japan, the war would have dragged on, allowing the USSR to occupy territory? It could have been North or South Japan, similar to Korea. I knew that was kind of some of the motivation for dropping those bombs, and because it could have dragged on and there'd been lots more casualties. So yeah, I mean, obviously the moral dilemma of dropping an atomic bomb anywhere, but yeah, you never know how that war. Now, some people say, oh no, the war was already over. Yeah, maybe, but other people would jump into shit. Who knows? JB asks, how many Charles Bronsons, original plus clone, would it take to beat up a gorilla, and what does he say when he wins? Cheesy one-liner. Well, honestly, how many Charles Bronsons? That's a whole different question because the 100 men versus the gorilla thing. But Charles Bronson's, I bet on like 5 or 6. It'll only take 5 or 6 because Charles Bronson's man. The cheesy one-liner though. Probably something like, that'll teach you to go ape shit. Something like that. That's close. Although it'd be a raspy voice like this. That'll teach you to go ape shit. Anyway, something like that. Avocados Dabby says, or asks, Barbara, Louise, or Irene Mandrell. And don't even play, you don't know who they are. I do know those are. In fact, let's give an example here. Barbara, Louise, and I didn't know there was a third one though. I knew there was the Barbara and Louise. Oh, Irene Mandrell, the Mandrell sisters. And for those of you who are really not in the loop, let's see. Let's find a good picture of the three. I mean, who's Louise? I don't know who Louise is though. Okay, here's Louise must be Louise on the right. Okay, I don't know if you'll even see this. Let's see if I can get this on the screen. That's not it. The picture on the right here is the three. This is, I don't know which one's which. That's Barbara Mandrell's in the middle. Is that, which one's this? Is this Irene? That must be the other one. Yeah, the younger dark-haired one's cute. But I always thought Barbara Mandrell was cute when she was young. Let's see. Here's another picture of them. Dolly Parton with the Mandrell sisters. Yeah, I'm into the dark-haired one. A lot of people like Barbara Mandrell. Louise is the brunette. Okay, yeah, there you go. So there you go. I hope that answers the question. You can answer that question for yourself. There you go. All right, back to this. Where are we at? Okay. Avocado Diabli asks, how much time do I have? Oh, I better do this quick. Where the hell did it go? There we go. Barbara. Okay. Avocados Diabli asks, did you know that drawing rooms were originally drawing rooms were originally with drawing rooms because you could get away from the world in them? Some fool changed it and caused centuries of confusion of why a room for drawing. Well, again, this is similar language things where people say, well, let's take the Second Amendment, for example, when they say a well-regulated militia. The terminology used at that time was a completely different meaning than what people try to shoehorn to that meaning now. And so drawing room, it very could well have been, even though it's a withdrawing room, it'd be you're drawn to that room when you need to get the fuck away from everybody else. So sure, yes. Now you know. Very good. Let's see. Here we go. Did Avocados Diabli ask, did you know the French language does not have a W in it? Does that explain why they lose or surrender in every war? No W's. No W's. I bet they were really confused when George W. Bush was president. Okay, let's see. Avocados Diabli asks, what city does not have a song that should? And no, butt fuck is not allowed as it is not a real place. Are there songs for every city? I mean, I know Omaha has a couple of them. New York has more than its share. L.A., I love L.A. Philadelphia, there's something. Philadelphia Freedom. Let's in the regular chat, put the names of some city songs. By the time I get to Phoenix, Country Road, I don't know what that is. Pegged Montana has one, does it? I'm sure. Yeah, it probably does. Yeah, name some city songs. Buttfuck Arkansas is as real as we need it to be. Okay, but it doesn't have a song, and I don't think it needs to have one. I think it's self-explanatory. Avocados Diabli asks, violence is an artificial construct. Zoran? Someone try parroting that line back to him the next time a Muslim gets their ass kicked, and he tells us we need to stop Asian hate and Islamophobia. That certainly makes sense. Memphis. Yeah, walking. Now you got to name the song though. So it'd be Walking in Memphis. Okay, there's more than one Memphis song, but Walking in Memphis is my favorite Memphis song by Mark Cohn. We built this shitty. That's the San Francisco song. Is that a city or a prison name? I don't know. Buttfuck theme is in and out by the Who. Little sexy time. No. Kokomo. Yeah, there you go. Walking in New Orleans. Yeah, walking to New Orleans last night in Baltimore is one of my favorite sea shanties. Walking in Memphis, Hotel California count? Well, it's a place, but not a city. Sorry. No, it doesn't count. All right, back to the questions. Ms. Wild Wolf asked, where did you go on Friday? We missed you. Friday, I went to Omaha, Nebraska. Omaha. Because we were celebrating the life of our family friend, Norbert Sherman, who is the superintendent of schools in Omaha for 40 years and a good friend of my mom. And his son Todd was one of my very good high school buddies. Also his sister Brenda and his brother Robert. Robert passed away a few years ago. But I did get to see Brenda too. She's a good gal. And funny story though. So Brenda is talking to me and she goes, Marty, you got to hear this. She goes, talking about me, and I'm, I don't know. I'm just not doing this to brag, but she says, my daughter just says to me, Mom, you could have dated him. Oh my gosh. Like thinking that I was hot for an old man. And which is funny. And then she goes, but don't tell her I told you, because I wasn't supposed to told you that. Oh, we're at the bar after they had kind of a food and stuff at a nearby bar afterwards. And she was right in front of her daughter. She goes, yeah, I told him. Oh, she was so embarrassed. Anyway, moving on. That's where I was. I was in Omaha. I was driving to Omaha. And I was going to stream while I was driving, just talking and chatting back and forth and do Q&A. And I was like, wait a minute. It's really hard to read Q&A questions on my phone while I'm driving. So I thought that may not be a good idea. Plus, I was having a little bit of trouble getting Streamlabs to work mobily. I don't know why. So, hello, Evan S. What's up? And Boston by Boston. There you go. Okay, here we go. Back to questions. Select Boy asks, is there such a thing as a smart communist? Oh, absolutely. There is such thing as a smart communist. The smart communist is the one who designates himself as the leader because they get all the cool stuff and everyone else gets something. But the leader gets the cool stuff and can, hide all that shit, whatever. Like Animal Farm. You read the book Animal Farm? Where the old whatever thing is just like the new, but then the different people have all the privileges. You know how it works. Select Boy asks, which is a piece that would be good for, which is a place that would be good for a Sunday brunch? Where I live, where do we go that had a really good Sunday brunch? Oh, what's that place called? It's not like a all you can eat brunch, but they have a really good brunch menu. They had this lobster quiche that was really good, and their biscuits and gravy are really good. What the hell's that place called? I can't remember. It's a place in Bloomington, Minnesota. I don't remember the name. Anyway, I'll think of it eventually. Avocados Diabli asks, if they made a sitcom about the Manson family, which member of the group would be the main comedic value to the show? Well, clearly Charles Manson. I mean, that goofy motherfucker is actually kind of funny, even though he was scary as fuck. So Charles is the funniest part of the show. And the girls, like the girls who, are kind of culty around him would probably have all the hijinks of killing people. I don't know. Anyway, Lord Stanhope asks, if you saw a bacon tree and dudes jump out and shoot at you, is it a bacon tree or a ambush? Yes, baby. That gets one of these. That was pretty funny. That's a dad joke. I think it would be a ambush. Avocados Diablo asks, have you ever done a Q&A where I did not ask you if you woke up in an awkward position? Not yet. I don't think so. I think it's coming, though. I feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. The crazy questions coming round. I can feel it. Anyway, let's see. Lord Stanhope asks, if a bear, lion, or saltwater crocodile disrespected the wife, would you fight them? I'd kick the motherfucker's ass. Well, I'd probably get eaten, but still, I would defend the honor of my woman. Lord Stanhope asks, what would you consider to be a disrespectful act from a saltwater crocodile? Telling me I'm bad at golf. Fuck you, crocodile. I'm good at golf. Avocados Diabli. Oh, here we go. Wow. Foreshadowing, AD. Avocados Diabli asks, have you ever woke up in a seedy motel in New York City with a snapping turtle lying next to you and Zoran Mamdani using the garbage can in the corner to contain a fire to fry some bacon? Okay, everything but the bacon part, because, see, Mamdani is Muslim, and so there would be no bacon in the room. He'd probably cook the turtle, though. Sound Nation asks, we all seem to be on the same page regarding being against transitioning kids. So how do we feel about male circumcision? Briefly compare and contrast. I'm indifferent to male circumcision. I mean, I don't know. I know there's a lot of people who are against it, and the logic of being against it makes sense to me. So I don't know. You can talk about that in the chat. Okay, here we go. In the chat, yes or no, male circumcision, yes or no. Just no explanation, just yes or no. In fact, you don't even have to just put yes or no in the chat. Avocados Diabli says, I guess you still haven't. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's an answer to. Lord Stanhope asks, how many gorillas would you need to beat up a saltwater crocodile? Saltwater crocodile. Oh, those are those big motherfuckers, aren't they? The saltwater ones. It might take two. See, the thing is, gorillas are very agile. I think one gorilla could whoop a saltwater crocodile's ass. As long as it's careful, you know what I mean? Selected Boy asks, Selena Kyle, Pamela Isley, Harleen Quinzel, or Barbara Gordon. Who do you choose? Are those all? Those are all characters, and there's only one answer, and that's Barbara Gordon. Yeah, bad girl. JB asks, is this the last question? Nope. I'm sorry, it's not. But it's coming soon. Lord Stand-Up asks, of all of your friends and family, who would you like to host your funeral the most? Oh, that's a tough one. One of the ones that are still living, of course. I don't know. Probably. I have a friend from college who's got a way with words that would be very appropriate. Plus, he'd be very organized and probably make sure that everyone was, comfortable, and everyone that we would want involved would be involved. So that's my buddy. That's my buddy. My buddy Rick. Well, maybe Rick or Joe, one of those two. Maybe even Eric. There's three guys. They could do it. It would be a triumvirate. They could do it together. Lord Stand-Up asks, as a professional bartender, what's the least romantic place on earth? Zoran Mandami's bathroom. That's probably pretty gross. Avocados Diabli, is this the first question? Obviously not. Lord Stanhope, will you have a good week? Always. Avocados Diabli, at what age are you too old to shit in the kiddie pool? As soon as potty training's over, that's too old. And a special can ask it. Special can ask is Special Can Acid asked, Four Tops or the Temptations? Oh, now that's a tough question. Well, no, it's not that tough for me. I'm going with the Temptations all day. But which lineup of the Temptations? Are we talking like do the thing you do Temptations, or the Papa was a Rolling Stone Temptation, or what's the Ball of Confusion Temptations? It's tough because the Four Tops stuck together. Temptations had the lineup changes, but look, overall body of work, Temptations, got to do it. And the last question, ladies and gentlemen, which this is on Friday Q&A for the Morning Night Live, comes from Avocados Diabli, who says, what is the worst type of light bulb to get stuck in your anus? The worst type of light bulb to get stuck in your anus, he asks. The worst type of light bulb to get stuck in your anus. I am so concerned. What the hell happened here? What the fuck? There we go. Well, it's clearly a simple 1,000-watt metal haloid. Oh, or halogen. Oh my God. Yes. Like a 1,000-watt halogen bulb. That would be extremely concerning, and it'd be hot. And if it were on, you meant the shape and size, but sure. Yeah, any kind with a filament, incandescent filament that is on would be the worst. And that, ladies and gentlemen, ends the show. I'm having a little problem with the links today, so we'll see if that happens. If not, check the description later. Thanks everybody for joining me. I gotta go. I hope you have I hope you had a good weekend. I didn't even ask you about that yet. I'm sure most of you did. And ladies and gentlemen, it's 4th of July this week, right? Isn't this the Independence Day celebration? The original No King's Day. So I hear there's going to be some protests. I don't know. I may go out and do some interviews that day. Although I didn't realize this. I forgot. They did this back in 2019 maybe. Every week on a corner in my little suburb here, there would be a protest on one of the corners, one of the main intersections of our town, which we don't really have a downtown in our little town here. But I thought, oh my God, I should go up there and talk with them every week if I can. Last week I couldn't because I had rehearsal for something. I had a choir rehearsal or something. Oh, Black Hebrew Israelites in the house.
That's
right. Nice to see you there. So anyway, I may start doing some interview stuff, which would be kind of fun. This is not working. Anyway, that's it. I got to go. Links will be in the description. They're not going to be in the chat because this thing isn't working right. So I'll see you tomorrow at the same time, same channel, all that shit. See you later. My name's Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye. This is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.